We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Jack Driscoll, Miami Dolphins center slash right guard. I thought he looked really solid in his preseason week 1 debut. I actually thought he was probably the most consistent O-lineman throughout the entire day. You know, he got work at center and then some later work at right guard. And honestly, I thought he even looked like really consistent at center and pass protection, which I think was huge with the Aaron Brewer injury. We didn't really have anyone at the center position that I think you could really trust after that. But I do feel like Driscoll should be that main backup center and honestly should get a chance to even start at that right guard spot. Like in this offense, you know, if Isaiah Wynn's not healthy and Robert Jones has to play left guard, I think Driscoll could also play right guard. So I love that depth and versatility he adds. I just think he's a better scheme fit and like really the best scheme fit. You really need athletes on this O-line, and he's a really good athlete, really good mover, and you really do need that at the center position. So I kind of prefer him to play center over Eichenberg if that's the case. And then Eichenberg would be a better fit at right guard anyway, so have him focus on that. But Driscoll really went out there, did his job super consistently. You know, he snapped the football well, which was big too. He didn't have any errant snaps. Everything was very good there, and then he just did his job. He's got really good feet, and he played with good technique overall. So like that he played well. I think him playing well is actually super big and important, and one of the more pleasant surprises from the preseason week 1 game, because we hadn't heard too many negatives about him in camp, but starting to see some positives is big. Here, off the snap, just straight up versus nose, one-on-one. Love seeing this, not giving up too much ground. If you look at his footwork here, it's in a straight up one-on-one. He'll get help from Harlow here late. But look at him like reset his hands. And once he gets engaged, boom, reset that left hand back underneath. You want to refit your hands into people, leverage. That's huge with technique. He's playing with a wide base. He's showing off that ankle flexion too, and just winning that battle pretty consistently up front when he was going one-on-one versus just a nose like this, and allowing to get to this space, because you know a lot of times you slide your pressure to one side, but they were kind of, you know, just giving him straight up one-on-one, man-to-man, big on big up here. They were going straight BOB, and he was just winning that battle, not giving up a ton of space too, which is big, because I do think his anchor was at times trouble, especially when he played tackle, because he's played a lot of right tackle, very versatile player, but being able to play center is huge. Dolphins do not have a lot of quality options after Brewer, and he is the best scheme fit to there. So if he can snap the ball like he did in this game, and then also win like this, because even though the guys in the interior are stronger, they don't build up as much momentum, and I think that's where he really struggles with the anchor, is when they really build up momentum on him. But he held up very strongly. Another rep. Here's another single one-on-one where he just gets engaged. Good hand placement straight and, you know, to the chest of the defensive lineman. Always playing with a good base. He plays with good knee bend. Didn't think he got over the top, and like I know he didn't get to show off a ton of his athleticism on these plays, but I know he's a great athlete. If you go watch his past film, he has really good range and pass protection, and when he played tackle, that's where most of his experience come from. But his best season did come when he played right guard. So seeing that he can play center like this is so big, like, for the team, because I do feel like he is probably the best backup interior option for the team, in my opinion, and possibly one of the guys that could start. I think Wynn and Robert Jones should start if that's like who's healthy, but if Wynn doesn't return from PUP in time, then I think Driscoll could see some work. And Brewer is also week to week right now, which is big. But also look at this athleticism. You get to see here. He's at right guard. Look how he fires off the ball. Time this snap. Maybe even gets a little bit of a, you know, cheat there, but he is firing off great lateral quickness to get off the ball, cut off this 2-eye right there, and this is on the backside of that outside zone run from Jalen Wright. One of the big ones where Patrick Paul did good. Everyone just up front on this play did like a very good job. Driscoll cutting off his guy, sticking with it, showing, you know, a little bit of strain there. I think he's not the greatest run blocker. I think this scheme will help him, because he's not a guy that's going to consistently just move people up there up front. Like he did have a rep in this game where he did move someone, but he's more of like a win with cutting people off, win with leverage, win with that athleticism, which is what you need mostly in this scheme to succeed. So it's nice to see that. I just think he can work on strain. This was solid recovery at the right guard position. I love that they left him on an island a lot in this game. I love the aggressiveness in this set too. Independent hands, because at center he was using just a lot of, you know, two-handed punch, get engaged very quickly. Here at right guard, he's mixing things up, throwing out that independent hand, shoot that right hand to the chest, and then reset. Kind of lose your balance right here, lose the anchor, but then able to recover, get back inside to the chest, slow him down. That is a very good rep all around, just seeing the versatility with your set, usage of different hands, and then the ability to recover when things don't go your way at a certain point, and then anchor very, very quality Jack Driscoll rep. One of my favorite reps from him, honestly. Definitely like seeing that consistency. And then here's just more of him, not necessarily cutting this guy off, but this is a straight up 0, and you're not going to be able, it's very difficult as a right guard to cut off a 0 on the backside of outside zone. But for him to work on the double team with the center, who's Meyer, and really just create a lot of movement down the field, help displace this defender, attack the low hip. And, you don't always have to cut people off, reach them, because sometimes they can either cut off the back of you, because outside zone offers multiple different lanes. Even doing this, like if you create push down the field, Wright's still able to get on his path to the outside, and that guy's still not able to get there. So just another rep where you get to see his athleticism. I thought he was one of the better offensive linemen on the interior at really showing off that ability. And I want to see more climbing to the second level, obviously, too. Didn't get to see a ton of that from the whole unit, but I do think out of these backup guys, Driscoll is probably the best suited for that, is getting to the next level. Here, he just does a good job, gets help, from the right tackle too, moving his guy, but just torquing to the side, using your hips, using that right hand extend to just help create this lane. You're trying to down block, get this guy out of here, and he has outside leverage too, this right. He's just basically head up with you, but with a slight shade to the outside. He reaches into him and then uses that right hand, brings his hips, feet across to move him to the inside like this, so you can down block, and then the pullers can hit up through, and that's on the Jalen Wright touchdown. Another beautifully blocked up front run. Really, really impressed with Jack Driscoll. I actually thought he was one of the better overall offensive players. Like him, Patrick Paul, Jalen Wright, I think were probably the best offensive players. I think, some of the other guys played pretty consistent. I thought Tanner Connor had a pretty good game, especially receiving. That would be in conversation. Malik did his job. Some of the other O-linemen weren't too bad, like a Sean Harlow. But yeah, Driscoll might have been the most consistent all-around player from a rep-to-rep basis. I really only remember seeing one really actual negative rep. Here he is up front, working some double teams, some combos with the right tackle, and actually creating some push. When he plays starters, this isn't going to be a consistent thing where he just creates push, but this is still nice to see. It's a combo, but he's basically very close to being one-on-one here and driving with his lower half. He's not the strongest guy, but for him to basically push this guy 3-4 yards down the field, reset that line of scrimmage like that, and sustain the block for long enough for where till Wright presses up into him. He really only breaks the block once Wright is to him, but that's 4 yards down the field. Overall, really, really like that work from Driscoll. I thought it was pretty impressive overall with his run blocking. He was creating space, he was moving people, and it wasn't just straight up outside zone. It was on these gap scheme runs. Like here, another example of him working where they're down blocking, and look how he moves this guy across. So this is a 3-tech to the play side of this, and he has to move him across this way from his spot, and he just torques him instantly. This guy's already moving across his face before the right tackle even gets engaged with him because of how he places his hand. That left hand's into the chest, and that right hand, you can't see it, but it's on this side of the body, and he hips, torque him across, get him the exact position, use his own momentum against him. It gets filled up nicely by the linebacker, but Driscoll was executing very, very nicely and understanding his assignments, doing it in many different ways. Loved his finish. I loved his ability to sustain more in the running game. And this is not something I expect to see a ton of, if he did have to play in against real starters. Is him just bullying some defensive linemen, but it is nice to see him bully defensive linemen that he should bully. That's a big time thing, because really where he's going to make his money if he does have to play for the Dolphins starting unit is with that athleticism. That's why I just prefer his scheme fit. Out of the interior guys, I think after Brewer, he's probably the best scheme fit wise out of the interior guys. Like him and Isaiah Wynn, I think, are on a similar level. So yeah, excited to see. I think if Driscoll has a decent season, that would be huge for the Dolphins O-line. I think that's probably one of the biggest thing is how he could perform. And I do think him playing on the interior will help him play with a little more consistency, because when he did struggle at tackle, it was going against, very good guys out in space, and I think that's where his technique, definitely faltered, and I think he can play on a more consistent basis as a center right guard, so that versatility is huge. I think he'll offer more versatility than what he can be, what Liam was last year for this team. Have Driscoll be that, and then just have Liam focus on right guard, because Eichenberg is much better just strictly as a right guard, and if needed, he can still be versatile and play other spots. But I think Driscoll should be that guy first for this team, and that will help out the whole unit. So if you guys really make sure to comment, subscribe, and